Hey, good morning, guys. I wanted to take some time today and talk a little bit about the operational efficiency section of Clarity xDome and how xDome can help provide insight into your medical assets and their utilization in your environment. A lot of devices, maybe not get utilized as often as they should, or there might be, a particular set of devices that nobody knows about, or how does your overall environment look as far as medical device utilization? Um, and what does that look like from a cost perspective as well? If you have 5 different CT scanners, but only 3 of those CT scanners are being used or being used most of the time, when it comes time for a device refresh, is it really necessary to refresh all of them or only the 3 of them? So utilizing different data collection methods, whether that's through passive, edge, or active queries, as well as integrating with your existing ecosystem, such as your DICOM servers and pulling that metadata out to get imaging device visibility or your Cisco DNA center with your wireless maps. um, we can build a picture for you and show you, where devices are on your network physically, like in location, such as building or building, building name, building number, room number, the device history. So if that device is moving across your infrastructure or across buildings, do these devices move around a lot? Do certain device types stay stationary more than others? And then devices that are just underutilized and maybe don't need to be refreshed as often that you wouldn't expect. And we can build operating hours. So let's say a CT scanner operates 8 to 5 every day, and there's a certain CT scanner that only operates Monday through Friday. You can look and see, okay, this device is operating as it should or operating um, as we projected it to, or an infusion pump might not be online as often as you thought, or there might be a box of infusion pumps that aren't online but are not being used at all. So, you can help. Xtome helps you get a good picture of everything connected to your network, whether it's being used or not, and then help you make decisions based on that utilization. So if we go into the operational efficiency tab and we click on the OE overview, this will give you an idea of where everything currently is in your environment. So we provide you with efficiency recommendations, and we can show you based on the devices, device type and recommendation type, um, different attributes. So for example, this one is overdue for preventative maintenance. There's 426 different devices associated with that attribute, or we have 722 devices that are offline. And then if you click into that, it'll open up a devices page and show you every different asset that is currently offline. So you'll be able to see if that device list is normal or not. And then you can also filter that device down by device type or by device location, connection type, etc. And then you can export that list or use that list to work within your environment. We can also look at efficiency recommendations by device type. So, for example, infusion pumps, there's 1,134 of them, and we can help you determine how well they're being utilized in your environment. And it looks like 27.2%. Um, you know, we could increase your efficiency by 27.2% with these different devices, and specifically with the infusion pumps in this case. But we can come up to the top and there's different drop downs and different filters. So we can look at only devices that are part of the corporate network, if that's all we're interested in. And we can filter this down by medical devices only. And then let's say that we only care about um, let's say we only care about imaging. So we can look at only the Fujifilm devices. In this case, there's only one device. This is a demo environment, but it'll show you a more specific view of the devices that you actually care about or actually relevant to your use case. And then down at the bottom here, we can show you inventory as well as location of data, or of those assets, excuse me. So we have 17,111 total located devices. 13,000 are wireless, 3,442 are wired across 5 campuses, 30 different buildings, and 265 different floors. And then that's across 2,500 access points. Um, and then we're showing how many devices are actually on the wireless being seen this week. So we could break it down by device type and then as well as by building and floor, and then the connection type. And then we can also show you the breakdown based on the device type itself. And then over on the right-hand side, we are showing you the wireless devices based on campus. So if you're wondering how many devices are wireless at Columbia or Albany, is that device count accurate? Is that expected? And then if you click into this number, it'll actually show you um, different maps that you can import either through like Cisco DNA Center or Cisco Prime. You can actually pull that data in via API and then utilize this data in the xDome dashboard. So if you're looking to, you know, if, for example, field services is trying to find devices or there's a vendor on site, you can help them locate the device or give them limited access into the xDome dashboard instead of giving them access into Cisco DNA Center. So you could give them access into xDome, let them come in here and only see the maps. They can locate their devices and do their maintenance, etc. And it's all done through the API between xDome and DNA Center or Cisco Prime. We can also integrate it with different other management systems like Orion and pull in the wireless data and wireless maps that way as well. But going back to our inventory, lastly, I wanted to go over utilization. So we can show you the different device types and then the number of devices being utilized, and then the utilization rate for each of those devices. So for example, if we're looking at C-arms, we have a total of 9, and they're utilized 58% of the time. So we pull in different data from different organizations. If we're seeing data from a specific C-arm across the network via span, we take that into consideration, as well as integrating with like your DICOM servers and pulling that metadata out. We don't pull any patient sensitive information out of those servers or images. It is specific to the device and the device activity. And that's how we build these pictures of these devices and these utilization graphs. As we look through here, I did want to go through the location maps again. So like I said before, we do pull these wireless maps out through a network management system like Cisco DNA Center or Cisco Prime. So if you have a vendor like Banert or a construction company that'll give you a floor plan of your building, you could import that into Cisco DNA Center or Cisco Prime, and then we can pull that out in a unified fashion and put all that data right into xDome to correlate that map or that data with the devices that xDome knows about. So as you can see, we'll show you the AP name. So we can also pull that information from the Cisco wireless controller or Aruba wireless controller via SNMP. It really, as long as the wireless controller supports SNMP, we can pull this data regardless of vendor. And then we can show you the device name or AP name, and then how many devices are on that access point. And then down here, if we do click on that AP, it'll show you the exact devices that we're looking at. So in this case, if we're looking to locate infusion pumps in the neuroscience center, we can see that it is right by the corridor down this hallway into this room. So it's a really effective way to find devices and locate devices very quickly in large healthcare organizations. If you look at inventory benchmarks, we can see um, this kind of breaks it down by device type as well. And then it shows you the number of devices and how many beds um, those devices are um, servicing or being used by. So we can utilize different information, whether it's through wireless connections, whether it's through network traffic, and we can show you how many of these device types are moving across your network. Are they being used effectively? Um, or are they, kind of staying stagnant and just taking up space in your organization? Another really interesting aspect of operational efficiency is operating hours. So once again, by utilizing different data such as metadata from the DICOM servers for your imaging devices, we can build operating hours um, Monday uh, through all the way through Sunday for your devices. And then we can build rules. So for example, I can specify 8 to 5, or I can change those hours just by simply dragging my mouse. And then I can hit save. So for example, if this is for CT, let's just say CT operating hours. CT operating hours, 8 to 5 every day. And then as you can see, once we build an attribution rule, the devices that are associated or match the conditions will be attributed under this column here. As of right now, there is 0. But if we go down to the operating hours device attribution, we can build a rule and say, we can call it the same CT operating hours. And then build a policy or a condition to match that device type. So for example, if we want to do CT, you would say, okay, device type equals computed tomography. And then we would map that attribution rule to the above rule, those hours, named CT operating hours. And simply click apply. And then by default, the status is disabled. We just don't want to unintentionally attribute devices to operating hours without the customer making sure that they actually want to enable the policy. So we have something come over here and click the little play button, and that will enable the rule. So the attribution pattern is 8 to 5, like we specified up on top. And then the condition is matching on that device type. So that will bring those devices in to this policy and match those based on that logic. So it's a really easy way to, if it's the imaging team or if it's a vendor or, even management, if they want to know their devices, let's say I'm the enterprise imaging director, I want to know how many of my CTs are operating throughout the week. What locations are operating the most, which locations are operating the least, where can I cut, if needed, cut those devices out to save money for my department in different ways. And we can do this for any device type in your medical asset inventory, whether it's infusion pumps or it's CT or it's your MRIs or your lab analyzers, any of those devices, we can pull the details and put those in here. So a really great way to help save money and show you where your organization is as far as device utilization. And since we built that attribution rule, we can now see that there is a 1 here, one matching rule, matching this policy. The last thing that I wanted to go over is the utilization tab. So this is a breakdown of all the medical device types that xDome sees in your environment. And the different colors or bars at the bottom will show you, if a device is being overutilized or if it's in that optimal range of where it's supposed to be. So for example, if I wanted to filter only on devices that are in the optimal range, I can come in here and filter that by clicking that little green rectangle, and it'll show you where it's at um, within the range that we specified. So if it's an 88%, or if it's a 90%, it'll be within that threshold, and it'll show you green. If a device is being used more than we specify or more than we have configured or see on your network, it'll be then determined as overutilized, and it's being utilized, 100% of the time or 95% of the time. And maybe you need more of a device type in your environment. Maybe you need to buy more infusion pumps or buy more um, testing systems, or more CRs. Um, it just depends on the device type and where we see the traffic and what we're pulling in, and then what we have configured for those hours um, and those thresholds within the xDome system. So another great way to see what is being um, underutilized in your environment as well as overutilized in your environment. And this is completely filterable as well. So you can filter by, site name, by subcategory. Do I only want to see patient devices or devices in surgery? And then device type. So if there's any glucose meters, there's not in here because this is a demo environment, but in your environment, there would be infusion pumps, patient monitors. So we can also narrow in on the specific device types as well. So xDome can gather the details of all your assets and then also show you how they're being used in your environment. And it's a really great way, an easy way for departments to understand where they're at with their device use, utilization, and where they can potentially save money, as well as, maybe they need to buy more devices as well. But I hope that this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.